This year has been quite the year for me thus far. The first thing was the ablation procedure, which was a life changer. The second thing was that I discovered that my father, that I have thought was not alive all these years, is alive and doing well. I was diagnosed with AFib about 2 to 3 years ago. I had had heart palpitations for years, but I just thought that that was a normal thing, and so I really was very surprised when they told me that I had AFib. When my AFib was at its worst, I really was very, very weak. I didn't feel good. I'd try to do dishes. I'd run the water and I'd have to go sit down. I couldn't take out my trash without it being a very difficult thing to do. Basically, all I could do was sit because I was so weak and just plain didn't feel good.
We need to get into the heart. I met Nolita over a year ago when she was having palpitations. We worked her up and eventually found out that she was having paroxysmal atrial fibrillation. I discussed all the options in front of us, and I did mention catheter ablation.
What scared me about the word ablation, it was because it was a heart procedure, and you just get a little nervous when you're talking about your heart. I started talking to people, realized how many people had ablations. They all thought it was the best thing that they'd had done. I decided to have the ablation because my quality of life was just not there at all. When I found out about my father, it was about 2 weeks before I had the ablation. I have always thought all these years that he'd been killed in the Korean War. When I discovered that my father was alive, it was almost unbelievable because my niece, who is in control of our family tree, she called and she said, "Aunt Nolita, we found your father." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And she said, "Your father's alive." I mean, it was just incredible because I couldn't wrap my brain around it. So a lot happened in May in my life that was life-changing.
Nolita's procedure went very well. It was very routine. The pulmonary vein isolation was performed, and the necessary EP maneuvers were also performed, and she recovered well without any acute complications. Since the ablation, she's gradually regained more strength. Her palpitations have nearly completely resolved. She has a lot more energy, and she's doing a lot of the things that she wasn't able to do before the ablation.
This year has definitely taught me about my strength, my confidence, and independence. I totally believe that I would not have necessarily been able to discover those things had I not had the ablation, because I'm not sure I would have felt good enough to be able to do a lot of what I now can do, such as meeting my father and my siblings. I'm not sure that I would have been able to travel without having had the ablation. It's interesting how when things put you to the test, you do better many, many times than what you thought you would or could.